So here's my Smackdown review for the what's the date today? The 14 December edition of Smackdown. Today's show was, I think, mid. There was nothing really good, but there was nothing really bad also. I think it was a fine show. As a as a as a go home show to Saturday night's main event, maybe not that good of a show, and Triple H has had that problem. He has not booked top to bottom good uh, good go home shows for SNME. SNME good home go home shows for PLEs in overall, I would say. But with we started with the I don't know why I keep forgetting stuff, but maybe I'll just go in random order because I don't remember the exact sequencing that happened. But one thing was that Bianca was backstage, and yeah, I remember now. Jimmy Uso started the show, and he he also, when the crowd started chanting it, he made the joke that's the other brother. He had his cool funny character on. He also said that he liked how Solo has grown, even though he doesn't agree with the way he has used to grow. He's proud of Jay, he's proud of Roman. I don't think he mentioned Sammy there. And and it was overall a fun promo. It was about that they have accomplished so much, and I am also going to accomplish things when I come back. I may win the Royal Rumble. And I was like, bro, no one believes you can win the Royal Rumble. I mean, they cheered for you like The Rock came back or something when you returned at Bad Blood. But even the crowd was silent when he said that I can win the Royal Rumble, or I can go for the US title. Even they were silent. So Jimmy, chill, please. And then when he's just about to leave, Drew McIntyre shows up, and I was like, what the fuck? What is Drew doing here? And he claymores Jimmy Uso. But if you watch the show on Monday, you exactly know why Drew attacked Jimmy. He specifically mentioned Jimmy's name along with Jay and Sammy, saying that they came back to Roman for like nothing, and he is, and they are his next targets. So I really like that, and it also shows how he is. That Solo cost him the title at at Clash at the Castle, right? But he didn't attack him. He hasn't attacked him one time since he has turned heel. He actually won against Cody using his help, and I think it really puts over that yeah, he is justified, but he's still a heel because Solo was on this show. But he had Tama and Jacob, and Drew doesn't like to go 3-on-1, so that happened, and that was fine. I think that really put over Drew. We came back from the commercial break. Drew and Nick Aldis still going to the back, angry. Nick was like, "We're having this transfer window, and we're having this transfer window, and you showed up, and you were like." And you attacked him. I cannot afford this, and everything. And he just told Drew to wait inside the room, and Drew saluted. I liked how he was just fucking like his smile, like kicking an injured person's head off. Like gave him so much satisfaction just because he was from the bloodline, and he did the salute, and then he went inside the room because Bianca interrupted Nick. She asked about the investigation into Jade's injury, which he said we do not have any conclusive evidence about who it was, but said that you may have to relinquish the titles because they have to be defended. But then Naomi stepped up, and she, kudos to Naomi's acting. Like Like in the past 2 weeks, the way that she has talked, or like the way she's like, oh, Jay, who is it? Like, I will find out. I'm with you, friend. And this week it was like, no, man, Bianca doesn't deserve to lose those titles. She doesn't have a partner. I will be the partner. Like acting like this cookie cutter baby faces. And we know, Naomi, you jumped Jade. We know that. And I liked it. And later we got to know that they are defending their titles against Candice and Naya. And that's how we go into the next, onto the first match of the show. That was the women's US tournament semifinals. That was Tiffany Stratton versus Meechin. It was a really good match. I think it was the match that, yeah, I think there were two matches that the crowd were into in this on this show, and this was, I think, on the second, if we would say. Crowd was really into it. I really liked the match. The end was botchy though. That she Michin was supposed to like move away, move towards, I think, the ring ropes for the close to the turnbuckles to get the PMS, the Pretty Moonsault. But she moved so far that Tiffany actually hit a perfect PMS, and Michin just no sold it. But I think, as someone mentioned on Twitter, I think Kale or something, that Michin should just improvise, you know like go outside, do some moves, do another sequence for like 1 minute, then hit the finisher. But then she just hit the finisher and won, and I think like that kind of really like was like, yeah, it was such a good match, but then that finish. But I'm glad that Michin is in the final. She deserves that. And then we had the backstage before the match. We had Naya saying to Tiffany that if you go on to the finals, I am really proud of you. You can win the US title, then you won't need the women's money in the bank. And she like wished her luck, and then Tiffany went her way. Then after the match, she came to the back. Naya was mocking her that you know yeah, that tough luck, but not everyone can be a good singles wrestler like me. And then Candice shows up and says that when you were lost to Chelsea, what did she say, Chifana, or did she say Chelsea? She immediately corrected herself and she said, I just talked to Nick Aldis and we got a tag team title shot. Me and I, we got a tag team title shot next week. And that was a real one line was really good. That Tiffany, maybe you don't have maybe you just don't didn't get it, like, as you don't have the speed of a singles competitor. And I was like, speed reference, definitely speed reference. First I was like, aren't you kind of dissing yourself? Which singles title have you won on the main roster? Then I was like, she's the speed champion. That's why she's saying that. And like Candice is perfect in this role. Like it is like the storyline is very repetitive. It like you have to use like the Triple H patience meme because this storyline has been going on for very long. And I like Candice's addition, but it has happened in other storylines too. Like heel has a heel lackey. That heel eventually starts getting over. They are threatened by her. Then another heel comes, and they start gaining favor. I'm just thinking, like, what kind of negotiating powers does Candice have? Like, what did she like say to Nick Aldis that me and Naya, like, we deserve the tag team title shots and not some other one? Like Naya got pinned by by Bailey. Naya got pinned by Bianca, the one half of the tag team champions, just like last week or 2 weeks before. Like 2 weeks before. Like, why does she get a tag team title shot? But I like Candice in this role. Like, it is perfect for her. You know, the poison pixie. You know, she's under Naya right now. She's like, oh, Naya, princess, I'm here for you. I'll get things done, you know, pushing Tiffany aside. This is a good way for Candice to get back on TV. I would also like that now that DIY are heels, especially when they are through this feud with like the Motor City Machine Guns and the Street Profits. I hope they like have the new way. Maybe you can still add Austin Theory, or maybe add people who are doing nothing on the roster, like Giovanni Vinci or something. Like he can have that, you know, billionaire gimmick and still be on that. You can create some fun shit. I think they will make it work. Get Blade Davenport there. You can do some things. I hope they do it. And then going forward, you know, you had Carmelo Hayes at backstage. He was like, who's my special opponent, huh? To Nick Aldis and everything. And then he walked out and it was Braun Strowman. I think many people are mad because just last night the discussion, you know, happened on X or Twitter about the usage of black people in WWE, and uses that none of them are on SNME, and then Melo got defeated, you know, jobbed out the next day. So people had a more, you know, angrier reaction than uh, they would have had if that discussion didn't happen yesterday. You know, but if you just look at it in like from like tunnel vision or something, like it makes sense for Mello to lose, because Mello's character on the main roster has been that he thinks he's him, but he's really not. Like he thinks that he's the best wrestler, best talker in the ring, but he's not. He loses and he runs away from things, and in that thing you can you know justify him losing in 90 minutes and 90 seconds, and especially to someone like Braun Strowman, like who's like 6 feet 8 inches, a monster literally. And I think the second was that the expectations were too high. People thought it was going to be Penta, but it wasn't. It was, and I'm really like, I get black people being angry that their people are not being used, and that's fine. But sometimes it's like you need to use that argument in a way that it makes sense. Do not go too far with it. Like if like I as an Indian, uh, you know what our experience has been in WWE, what our people have gotten in WWE, maybe as characters or as wrestlers. You know, some people who are not our people have been classified as Indian. Jinder Mahal is not an Indian, he is a Canadian. The Bollywood boys are not Indian, they are Canadian, same as many other folks. Like right now, Great Khali was an Indian at that time, but Great Khali is an American now. So we have gotten a lot of things. Like even the argument that you make is 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 right, is correct if you look at the overall picture, but do not take one situation and just blow it out of context so much that people just, you know, were like your argument is wrong, because you go too far with that argument. And I think if you want to talk about Melo's booking, then it has to be from the start, because you know, people are saying that, you know, he was in the U.S. title feud, and then he was against Cody Rhodes. But remember, even in that U.S. title feud, like Andrade lost to LA Knight by interference. Carmelo Hayes didn't lose to LA Knight by interference. He just straight up lost. Carmelo Hayes got a win against Andrade in that best of seven due to a roll up caused by LA Knight. And in the match, uh, when LA Knight hit the BFT, he pinned Carmelo Hayes. So if you want to criticize Carmelo his booking, you have to do it from the start rather than now. Like in his main roster chicken shit heel character, it makes sense. And the thing with Carmelo is whatever they gave him, he does it to his best of abilities, and that is very good. And I think that would have been a problem under Vince, because then Vince would have just made him a jobber for life. Like he kind of made Dolph into like a figure like that later in his career. I would just say that Melo was brought up from NXT, and then they didn't have any long term plans for him. Whenever they have found an opportunity, they have tried to put him into big positions, but they have also done some things in his presentation which I don't like. Carmelo Hayes' entrance isn't just him coming out and just the he-him thing. He had that whole basketball thing or something. He had Trick announcing him up. He had in the barbershop, they introduced the barbershop, but in that barbershop there were other people. Like it had the vibe. Like there are certain things missing from his NXT presentation that if they would have been on the main roster, like he would have been a star. People saying that he's too small. Bruh, Sami Zayn is too small. And now people will be like, oh, Sami Zayn, how can you say that? Sami Zayn is the. I'm just measuring them on one factor, that is size. And in size, they are both nearly the same. I would say that Carmelo has more muscles than him. But Sammy has character. Sammy is the better wrestler. Sammy has the better character, better mic skills too. But Carmelo as a character, as a star, just needs some elements which he had in NXT, and he'll be an instant star on the main roster. Like you have the world heavyweight title now. You have two world titles. He can win one. And even now, if he gets drafted to Raw, him winning the title from Sheamus in like a in like an outside show they have, or him even beating John Cena for the IC title, like in a chicken shit way or something. Like I'm ready for it. I think people are ready for it. They just need to have like a proper plan with him, and they just need to like give him that that presentation, that full presentation that he needs, and they will be fine. Then we have the MCMG promo where they were like, where they were like, next week Alex Shelley was like, Gargano, you're gonna find out why the mentor is better than the the disciple, and their promo was essentially that Johnny betrayed them, even despite them having such a such a significant relationship, him breaking Johnny in. And you can see that like Saban was like, typical promo, like reading lines or something, but Alex Shelley had some zazz about him. Like, you need to give MCME, now that they have lost the titles and now that they have more character motivation rather than just being baby faces. I think putting them on the mic, letting them express themselves, pulling up their history and everything, I think that will really help them to get over the crowd. Not that they are not over, like they get a reaction. It's more than what you can say about Andrade. Andrade gets a reaction in the ring. He never gets a reaction in his entrance. And MCMG still gets a reaction in their entrance. DIY had their promo. Ciampa is not the same Blackheart heel. He acts like he's going insane. Like an old man going insane. He acts and speaks like it, which kind of makes sense because he his main roster character is not the Blackheart thing. I like it. I like what Johnny said, and Johnny said that uh, it was because that they were screwed out of from their bloodline. They lost their chance at a rematch, but now they are the tag team champions again. Next week, Alex Shelley versus Johnny Gargano. That's gonna be a good match. And then we have Chelsea versus Bailey, which I think is the most the crowd was in on the show. They were really into Chelsea. I think, in my opinion, from what I've seen from Chelsea, like when Chelsea is in her matches and when she does funny stuff, she used to get a really big reaction. Not really on her entrance and all, but I think since the US tournament has started, she's been getting a lot of reactions. Whether the things she does in the ring or entrance a little, she has really gotten over. So they have a really pretty standard match, which was I think good. In the end, it picked up, and then she had a nasty elbow on Piper Niven outside. Then she beat the 10 count Bailey, but then uh, Chelsea hit her with the unpretty air, and she won relatively clean, you can say, not fully clean because she jumped on Piper Niven and then had to beat the 10 count, but as clean as you can get against the top star. And Chelsea and Michin are in the finals. You can say maybe having the mid card belts on like people who are not as over is is not good, which is kind of my my problem with it. But if they give a nice spot to Michin and Chelsea on the card, if the promo package has their feud from which they had, where there was a time when Michin, Chelsea, Carmelo, and Andrade were carrying SmackDown on their back, because at that time the other stuff on SmackDown was lackluster. So if they get that, if they get their histories in it, like Michin has a long history. She was in Retribution. Like get those type of emotional shit also. Get their program in that promo also. Like build it up big. I think it will be good because it and it actually puts things into people's brain that these are the women that had like a significant non-title women's feud in WWE, which doesn't really happen, and and show that they are important. And if you give this match good time, if you structure this match good, I think it will be good either way. Even if Michin wins or if Chelsea wins, they can do great stuff with it, because if Chelsea wins, eventually this is going to lead to Chelsea you know chicken shitting her way out of matches, which I think Chelsea, if you give her stuff, best to she would do her best to work with that to make it the most productive thing. And she would do that, her with the US title, Piper Niven by her side doing stuff, and especially on the road to WrestleMania where crowds are generally more hotter and invested in things, and you're gonna have them in foreign countries. I think this can be really good. Even if you have Michin as the champion, her being the fighting champion, fighting every week, maybe you can send some NXT people, get them some reps. Like one week you send someone have an open challenge or something, that can work too. But I think whatever happens, this leads to probably Jordan Grace coming in the Rumble and Jordan Grace probably winning the US title at Mania from whoever the champion is. I think that is the plan going forward. I just and then we actually had a really good match. LA Knight versus Solo Secure 2. They just gelled together, and it really showed how much LA Knight has improved in the ring. And I would probably say the opposite of Carmelo. That LA Knight in NXT was good, but he hasn't presented so much better on the main roster, be it related to matches, be it related to feuds. I did like his promo, like it was just some general stuff. It was funny. His oofalala thing was really funny. Him saying that, I don't like the bloodline, but Jay, haha, it's like every other, huh. It was that. But I liked his promos that he did on like Smackdown Lowdown last week. The emotional stuff and the stuff like, words of a champion stuff saying. So I think he should do more of these on TV. They should have him do more of these on TV. Maybe they don't want him to, get over that much, but I don't think so. If you look at the match results, they had a really good match. Like LA has improved so much in the ring. In the end, it was that LA hitting a really good elbow. That two that 2.9 almost got me. I thought LA beating Solo Sikoa, that's not gonna happen, and that did happen. And then the camera shot with LA just there, Jacob just jumping on the table doing the aye, and then disqualifying. That really showed that either rather than having LA being beaten by Solo just by distraction or something, having LA being disqualified, winning the match by disqualification shows that how much they value LA Knight. Like they had him, win by disqualification, not being such a sacrificial lamb for Solo, and it shows how much LA Knight means to them as a star in star value. If you see, next thing that happened showed. Next thing that happened, uh, Andrade and Apollo Cruz came out because they were attacked last week. Apollo was attacked in the most funniest way. Andrade was too, and they just got instantly pitched out. They got pitched out because it was 2v2. Like it was Solo and Jacob. Just they just came in the ring and Solo and Jacob just beat their ass under a minute. And you can say these are the characters that I really don't care about that much. But even aside that, it was a good piece of work because blood the the Solos bloodline needed to get their heat back after losing at War Games, and they have, and surprisingly, doing these angles with baby faces and LA Knight has gotten them over again. And it has worked, Solo coming out saying that I don't have time for funny stuff and then beating their asses. I really like that. That has really worked. Like there's some serious stuff and it has worked for me. We'll probably get a 6-man tag next week. Or maybe they'll extend it. Maybe they'll get a tag match next week and then they'll have the 6-man tag a week after the next week. Maybe they'll do that. Then we had the Roman Reigns promo. I am not like those people who are like petty. Like they clearly don't like Roman, or they don't like the Bloodline story that much. So they're like, oh, with that cinema shit, you can just come and give this promo in the arena or in the backstage. Like it was not bad. It was just normal. You can just say that it was unnecessary. Like the stuff, he was on a boat with Paul Heyman doing the stuff, like he had the hands folded and he was looking at, oh, my tribal chief, and Roman saying that he lost his wise man, he lost his bloodline, he lost his title, he lost everything, and that Solo Sikoa's bloodline has won at Crown Jewel, his bloodline has won at Survivor Series War Games. One thing, why didn't they add that Roman has like another has a pin on Solo Sikoa which happened at Bad Blood? They didn't count that. I don't know why, but he said that. So let's do it. My family and the Ula Fala are the things that matter to me the most. So let's do it at the Netflix premiere for Roman versus Solo Sikoa for the Ula Fala. The thing is, the only problem I have with this promo is the thing that I mentioned. They didn't mention the Bad Blood thing, and also the thing that the stuff that was said, that could have been said in front of a green screen, or that could have been said him just sitting down in like a black room or something, or in his tribal chief lair. They did it on a boat because because Roman is on a break now. Like he'll probably show up like a week before the Netflix premiere, and that's when he'll be back on TV. So they probably did this because Roman is on a break. It shows how much they are they are in the Netflix premiere of Raw because they're having a kickoff show, a kickoff show for an episode of Raw, a kickoff show, not like those kickoff shows which happen normally, like the Sunday double dhamal things, but like a proper kickoff show. Like they're gonna have Rhea Ripley on that kickoff show. They're gonna have people on there, maybe some stars on there, and also if you see like Roman wrestling on TV, he last wrestled like 3 years ago when I think in a match against John Cena or something, like a tag match where he took like 3-4 bumps. Like if that's to be believed, I think that information came to me from Humble Wrestling as by his tweet, maybe. But it's been a while since he wrestled on TV. Roman wrestling on TV. If you go by the reports, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, their storyline is probably going to lead to a match at the Netflix premiere. Rhea probably, facing and I hope defeating Liv for the Women's World Championship. So, the Cena is going to show up. The Rock is probably going to show up too. So big stuff is happening on the Netflix premiere, man. Like as Triple H said, they're treating this as a WrestleMania. So it's going to be big. Like Cody is going to be there too. Then we had a Shinsuke, you know, a vignette, which is his character is basically the same character he had against Rollins and Cody. I think it's just that time it was more because of him exposing their weaknesses, but also him being jealous of them because they got what he didn't want. And that this time what has happened is that he has that weakness character thing, but he just doesn't have the jealousy thing. He just has that, weak-minded people, shallow people are winning titles that they should have won. People like LA Knight, and I have the title now, and which is going to be my mission next. No, weak-minded, feeble people are going to win the championship, and it was a really good presentation. I liked it. He had more the Ghost of Tsushima gear. Sorry if that comes off as racist, but that is the only thing that comes to my mind when I see him in that gear, and he looked legit badass. I just hope he locks in the ring too. Like this is the last chance. Triple H has put in a lot. Like if you have watched that video of him, you know, like directing Shinsuke's entrance, like they worked on this a lot. Like if you see, LA Knight's title reign like ended prematurely because I think that this was leading to probably LA Knight, having these things with the with Legado del Fantasma and everything, but but eventually it was going to lead to some more mid-card feuds. Maybe Andrade coming back for the title, maybe AJ Styles if cleared coming back for the title, and probably going to lead to Mello or Andrade winning the title at Mania. And Shinsuke is coming back, beating him in like 2 weeks. Like they have put in a lot into Shinsuke this time. If this is his last chance, I hope he does something with it because they're protecting him. Like the bloodline didn't attack him last week. They were the ones that were like, oh, he had the goo goo. He had the goo goo in his mouth, and we're scared of that. So I hope he locks in the ring. And next thing we have Legado del Fantasma, you know, complaining to Nick Aldis that so many backstage attacks are happening. This is not a good working environment. Maybe we'll go to Raw. And I think this was probably going to be transfer window to promote the transfer window stuff. Like Legado is probably going to Raw then. That's what's gonna happen. Legado is probably going to Raw. And then I think I've talked about everything on the show. I think this is the Cody Chaos stuff I have to talk about. And then the main event, which was the final word between Cody and KO, which was not much of a final word. They did present it like really, like a really big thing. Like Michael Cole was in the ring. He introduced Cody, which was he was in a black suit. So, but there were like 8 minutes left, and I was like, nothing's gonna happen. Then Cody was like, Kevin, come out here. Then Michael Cole introduced Kevin Owens. He didn't come out. Cody started cutting a promo, but Kevin cut him off from his car and said that Michael Cole should ask the question, why did he team up with Roman Reigns if he's such an unbiased journalist? And second, also he said that Cody, he's physically unable to, should tell the truth. Why hasn't he told the truth till now? Then he said a line which was like a zinger, that you were more interesting at Stardust. I don't like Kevin being like a funny heel or like being this type of heel. I get it why he's being this type of heel, because he's kind of being like he's so like in this, like he's so warped up in this victim mentality, in this with that everyone is against him, that this is kind of his coping mechanism, like him acting like a bully is essentially him coping with this shit. Like this helps him. But I would have liked Kevin to be more of a serious heel in this stuff. But then it was Cody said, "Let me go get him out of here right now in front of these beautiful people." And then he went to the back. But psych, Kevin was there. He attacked him. They went to the ring. With the usual security brawl happened, and then and but Kevin laid Cody out with the belt, and he held the Universal title belt up, and he had a fucking Walmart Stardust custom T-shirt with the whole Stardust holding that custom red Universal belt, which was really funny. But one thing is certain, that means Kevin is not winning tomorrow, because first he stood tall at the. There are two wrestling rules that indicate a challenger is losing the title match. That is, first, if the challenger is standing tall over the champion at the go home show, and second, if the challenger is holding the belt over him, over the champion at the go home show. So that's a big indication about who is winning tomorrow. Like, I think we are pretty sure about the results of most of these matches, because they're nothing's mad going to happen on these shows, because they are they are TV specials in the day, but they are TV specials at the end of the day. But I hope that Kevin wins, because first of all, these shows need some major thing happening, so that they can just not be, buffer shows or like filler shows. I just hope they do something, like give some surprises, or rather have some surprise appearance or a return or a segment which happens on SNME. But I'm excited for it, and my predictions will be dropping today only about the Saturday night's main event card, as the card is official now. So if you like this type of content, like, share, and subscribe. Even if you don't like this type of content, share it with those who do. Donate to my UPI ID, chefboy@OKICICI. My social media links are in the description. My Twitter and Instagram is in the description. Follow me on them. And that's it for today. No, that's not it for today. Wait for later. Thank you. Goodbye. Alvida.